this issue started, and I have to do this. I'm not trying to bring that shit back up. But, like, I know from some of y'all comments, y'all are uninformed. Y'all are unaware of, I don't like that word, uninformed. Y'all are unaware of, like, what's, you know what I'm saying, transpired between me and that man to where I really don't fuck with him. Okay, so, when I first discovered his channel, right, dude was like 70-something deep, 70,000 something deep with subs, right? I'm at like 80. You know, I'm straight. I don't care about that shit. Like I said, like, real life, it's too much in real life for me to care about the internet shit. But, you know what I'm saying? He had it was strange because at first I was buying it, like some of the things he was saying. And like out of nowhere he switched up on me. Now, what do I mean by that, right? It's like, mad times, you probably still find comments for mad long, you're going to have to scroll for a minute, of, like, you know, videos that I commented on over there, and he put the little heart thing or whatever, right? That you do when you a content creator, motherfucker, leave a good comment, right? Now, like I've said in other videos, because I do music, I've done music since I was 10, 11 years old. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing that shit 16 years now. No, fuck that. No, 18 years now. It's like I done fucking turned legal age just in the time I was doing music. Like I started rapping when I was 10. I started doing guitar and bass when I was like 10ish, 11, like shortly after that. Like, cause my biological parents, right? My biological father was really, he was a guitar player and a singer. He was really into that shit. And even though like him and my biological mother had their issues and fell out to where she couldn't really take care of me, that's why she put me up for adoption. First off, let me stick on this, right? When a child is going to be put up for adoption, this is what happened in my case. I was adopted at birth, right? On the Texas Adoption Agency website, right? My birth mother is not from Texas. She is from Peoria, Illinois. Same thing with my birth father, actually. She bounces between Rockford and Peoria, though. R.I.P. EBA Bands, he died in Rockford. But, was murdered in Rockford. But anyways, so, when you're being put up for adoption, put it like this. They didn't even have a picture of me up on whatever this was. I don't even think it was a website because this is 93. The internet is not around like that, homie, right? But there was databases, right? And because of the fact my parents were from Connecticut and my adopted parents, my other way around. My adopted parents were from Connecticut, and my birth parents was from Illinois, and my dad wasn't in the picture and shit. They wound up flying my birth mom down to Texas to basically give birth in Texas first, and that was done for a reason. That was done because of the way the adoption laws worked in Texas at that time. You see what I'm saying? It was the type of thing, you can't just do this. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. I only understand it because I was adopted at birth. So, and I can actually get, like, my adopted mother to come up on here and co-sign this whole shit. You know what I'm saying? I can show you pictures of my birth mother and my adopted mother, and you will see a clear relation, you will see no relation. Not to mention, for the ages, my adopted mother, like 70-something years old. That would mean she would have given birth when she was like 50. You know what I'm saying? It's not really physically possible. It happens very rarely, and when it does, it makes the news. But, you know what I'm saying? That's why they adopted, or leading up to that, we're trying to. And I guess that shit is not guaranteed. And what I would mean by that is, right, so not only did they make her do the whole adoption down in Texas, right? That's why I'm born in San Antonio. But on top of that, I mean, they paid for the, like, my parents had to pay for my adopted mom all her arrangements and shit down there. Like, where she had, like, a temporary apartment and shit, like, leading up to giving birth. She was down there for, like, a good, actually, both of them. My adopted mother and my birth mother is going to keep getting dyslexic in my head, sort of, with it. But my birth mother and my adopted parents, my biological mother and my adopted parents, because, you know, Pops is in the wind at this point. It's been in the wind since. My adopted parents, you know, because they had chicken. That's the thing. That you can't just adopt a kid and be like, I don't even know. Like, there's a lot of shit. Like, put it like this. Back in 93, there was things like single parents. They did not want to adopt out 2 single parents. Like, there's a lot of things you being, like, put it like this. There was, I forget how many, but it was over 50 people I know for sure. It might have been over 100 who wanted to adopt me at birth. You see what I'm saying? And it boiled down to my birth mother, my biological mother, Jill, choosing, you know, Mike and Jenny, my adopted parents. So, if she had to choose, I got to ask her how many people it was, because it was enough to where I'm like, damn, so, like, you could have picked all these other people. And, like, some of the people wouldn't even get interviews, because as far as the agency goes that they were using, they didn't meet their standards. So, you see where something like that I have extensive knowledge of, because I went through it. Like, when I see somebody, you know, it's the fact, you're saying you was born in 93. You was adopted at birth to a single mother, nonetheless, in the middle of the ghetto. Do you understand the whole reason that, like, my parents, like, they got chosen was, like, the agency is linked in with whatever DCF or CPS, whatever the state they're bringing you back to has, right? So that's linked in with that as well, not just the adoption agency. And so you have social workers that check up on you after the kid was born. You can actually see some of this in the episodes of Law and Order SVU when Mariska Hargitay's character adopts that one who she adopts. I think it's an Asian kid. I can't remember. But, like, that's another thing, right? So it's easier to adopt things, not things, that sounds so bad. It's easier to adopt, like, an Asian kid than it was me. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of the type of stress that China, specifically, like, Chinese kids, because of how the government is about population and only allowing a certain amount of kids per couple and whatnot. So that's why you see a lot of Hollywood people, they got the Chinese kid they adopted. They got the Filipino, like, there's a lot of things like that. So I didn't want to talk about adoption for 8 minutes here, but I had to give background as to why I'm like, bro, you just basically, like, he looked like a fed to me. Especially when he was sitting on that no jumper. He looked like a fed. Like, motherfucker, hey, the feds can braid some motherfucking hair to make him look like look like Last Dance with Mary Jane or some shit. Look like Kenny Loggins or some shit. Like, it is what it is. And I had no disrespect towards him. It's crazy because he switched up. Like, he felt threatened or intimidated by me, right? So he stopped, you know, putting thumbs up and everything on my comments, putting a little heart on my comments. And, like, stop. I tested it for, like, weeks to try to see if I could get a response. I didn't even care that was going on. I just was like, really? Because I noticed I get past 100-something subs. I'm at, like, 107 now. Once I got to, like, it might have even been 101 or 99, like, right at, like, he stopped fucking with me, it seemed like, for no reason. You feel what I'm saying? So that shit was, like, wild to me to watch. And then I start noticing his voice is changing, like, intentionally. Like, when I first came over there, he sounded like a farmer. My wife even said, why does that sound like somebody who's, like, on a farm? You know, sounds like North Dakota. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, so you got to understand, with what goes into adoption, do you understand how that's not, I'm sorry, bring your mom, your adopted mother up on here and shit. Like, don't try to fake that shit either. Don't try to fake that shit. Nah, he probably would try to fake that shit. I can't even give him that idea. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I know you not my age. You older than me. I could tell by your posture when you sit down, the way your voice is, and the fact that after you encountered me, that's when you start putting like a little slur in your voice and shit. Shit I can't control about my voice. You know what I'm saying? If you notice, like, there's a different voice I use when I'm like really trying to emphasize shit and make it clear. I rarely use it. I use it because of that. If I'm doing a really like in-depth type video where I want to make sure you hear me very clearly, or if I'm trying to imitate somebody who's not of my socio-economic group. If you know what I'm saying? Basically like this, right? It was enough to where I said, this motherfucking swagger jacket. He felt intimidated. He saw something realer to him. Because there's no other reason you should be hating. You got 70-something thousand subs, bro. Like, why did me getting past 100? It was like, I could tell through the comment section that it made him feel threatened or something. Like that's what I love about YouTube. Like, there's enough, without motherfucking saying shit, just watching what they do in terms of, like, their digital movements. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you see them absent for mad long, if you see how something happens and immediately after, they're, like I said, with the loving and like account, that just stops. Like, there's a lot of shit like that where I like how I can see that shit. Like, it makes it really easy to be able to infer that shit, right? So, this is where the problem started, right? So, like, I keep in mind, I'm still trying to be grown about it. But some of y'all want to leave dumbass comments. Listen, if you want to look at me like I'm skim milk or I'm soy milk, that's okay. Maybe 1% milk. You know what I'm saying? Think about, like, the biker gangs, how, like, they say, oh, only 1% is really doing criminal shit, like, way back in the day, right? Shit, milk was probably alive for that. I just read about it on Wikipedia when I was a kid. I was like, what does 1% mean? You gotta understand where I spent a lot of time growing up. Like, there's a lot of bikers and shit. So I was like, exposed to this shit. You know, before I went to Detroit, I was exposed to a whole bunch of other shit. But I would like look shit up like this because it's like, what does 1% mean? So it's like, if you want to call me 1% milk, you want to call me fucking skim milk or soy milk, because there's no milk in that. That's accurate. But my problem is like, I really question. I wouldn't have a problem if he didn't switch up, start hating. To a point I could see it through the screen. And at the same time, it's like he's built kind of like a cop. He switched his whole voice up. He did the Theranos thing. Like, you could go all the way back on my videos, right? This is my voice. I emphasize certain shit, like, right there, and you get, like, a slightly, like, maybe slightly nasalier, slightly slurrier, like, depending on what's going on, but it's the same voice. With him, it went from, hey, man, to, hey, look, what's the deal? Like, he was trying to, like, really WWF that slur in there or something, like, he wasn't, you know, he was trying to hide that, well, this is Gilligan. And make it, yeah, well, this Gilligan. You could watch it change. And I only noticed it as being, like, in response to me getting a little bit of traction because I'm me. And I noticed how it changed as soon as, like, the hearts stopped coming and the thumbs up stopped coming. That shit changed. And it didn't even change. It was almost like he was trying out different voices, right? And I know in both my state profiles, right, from my juvenile bid in Michigan and my you know, arrest reports in Wayne County and the Metro Detroit area shit to all the way over here, it definitely says shit in them profiles about being adopted and all type of shit like that. I'm almost positive. I've never read them. But, like, I'm saying, like, the type of shit he said, it's literally like you just changed the names, places, It's all you changed. Like, you might have even kept, like, you might have changed when you went to Fig, might correlate right when I went to Detroit, the exact same age. I don't know, man. It's just weird to me, and I don't fucking like the dude. I think, honestly, I'm being nice when I say I think he's a federal agent with access to my state profiles. He's WWF, though, that's for sure. I'll just